We're here in Gifford, Illinois, and you can see behind me a large pile of trash. All of this stuff has been pulled from the city in the aftermath of the tornadoes. These giant hulking pieces of ice, you can see how small my hand is compared to the size of this ice. Another robbery, this time at a gas station in Iowa City. A Tama County woman is dead after her truck collided with another Saturday afternoon. 30-year-old Aaron Scott shot an officer yesterday morning, but that wasn't the first time he'd shot someone. If your drive takes you through the west side of Iowa City, you'll need to find a different route this week. What you see behind me is a tree apparently that fell into the street here. We've had so many people come up to us today asking, is Logan okay? Did Logan make it? An officer here on scene told us that nobody's injured and the fire is out.
Our Pocket Square Club meets every Thursday. If you'd like to stop by, I believe it's at Jason's house this week. Just go online, we'll get all the info.
Make sure you bring snacks.
Yes, please do.
Always good to see you as well. This week we're talking about corporate America. How is corporate America faring? Meanwhile, on the other side of the river, on the west side, some say people over here are being left in the dark. Much like this ear of corn, you have to peel back the layers to get the full picture. Nowadays, they're not looking outside your car or inside your car. Actually, they're looking underneath it. But what happens if you're caught stealing cable television? Some companies don't immediately throw the book at you. At Mediacom, for example, it's 3 strikes and you're out. In Iowa City, Jason Hackett and
Emma
for Fox 28 News. Join us tonight at 5 for the top stories covering the corridor. Have a great afternoon, everybody. On this windy Friday afternoon,
it was just crazy.
Bullets were only the beginning. It's just before 12:30. Morgan Schwab was doing what high school girls do.
A couple friends and I were getting our nails done for homecoming.
Suddenly, chaos at the gas station next door.
We heard about 5-6 gunshots and then see a white car sped off really fast.
That car belonged to the suspect, 18-year-old Brandon Gordon.
We thought, oh my God, did someone get hurt?
The victim, 18-year-old Kirsten Meyer, was rushed to a local hospital. As the search for Gibson began, Kennedy High and Wright Elementary were put on lockdown.
I have a younger sibling who goes to Kennedy as well. She called me right away and was like, OMG, are you okay?
After a half-hour search, Gibson was eventually tracked down and arrested a half-mile away. And that's when the bomb squad rolled in.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
During the investigation of the shooting, police found a suspicious package on a nearby roof.
I was thinking, oh my God, is it just going to blow up this whole side of town?
Stores were cleared out, bomb suits were brought in, and after investigating, the package turned out to be nothing more than merchandise alarms and wires. The shooting and the chaos that followed left many shaken.
It's not safe to go out during the day, at night, anytime.
Especially Becky Fink.
Before the shooting, I was headed over to the station. I'm just so glad that I didn't end up going. I would have been right at the place at the time that the shooting happened.
Police say the devices were discovered on the field after a game Tuesday night. Tonight, as they work to nail down a suspect, parents and coaches are reacting with surprise and disgust. It's almost hard to imagine someone stealing the innocence from such an innocent game.
My kids play over here all the time, even when they don't have baseball games, they're over here playing with their friends.
But here in Cascade, just miles away from the famous Field of Dreams, parents are hearing their worst nightmare.
Unfortunately, there's some kind of sick people out there.
The Dubuque County Sheriff's Office says the 2 cameras found were similar to these.
They're cheap. Once you have your recording, you just go plug it into your computer, your laptop, and you would have a full video.
And if you blink, you'll miss them. Police say a camera like this is so small, so unrecognizable, that chances are you'll go into a bathroom and not even see it. Deb Bertling, who lives next to the field, finds it extra disturbing.
You never think it's going to happen in your own backyard, and it literally did, unfortunately.
It's also troubling to Coach Jim Reinke, whose team was on the field across from the bathrooms Tuesday night. He says none of his kids were affected.
Hopefully we'll figure out some answers as it comes up. I'm sure the kids will be wondering and want to know some answers to what happened too.
Police say the incident doesn't warrant panic, but they do encourage vigilance. As for the person or persons responsible,
I think they should get the book thrown at them.
Well, I hope there's some justice. I hope there's some apologies. I could tell you some things that I really want, but probably aren't appropriate for this time.
Lynn says they do have a suspect in mind. Depending on what they find in the camera, Their charge could go from a serious misdemeanor for invasion of privacy to a full-on felony for child pornography. Jason Hackett, Fox 28 News. Scott and Tiffany, several homes are in pretty bad shape out here. We're actually standing in front of some of those homes right now. You can't even see them because they have no power. Foundations are falling apart. The smell of mold and standing water lingers in the air. Some residents even tell me that they've been victimized by looters. All they want out here is a little bit of aid. A generator churns away at Sherry Kirk's home. That's because she hasn't had power in a week.
We're just overwhelmed and just, where do you start, you know?
Not to mention the contents of her basement now reside in her backyard.
We also lost furnace, water heater, washer and dryer.
Neighbor Krista Williams no longer has a basement.
My daughter went around with a flashlight and said, Mom, you don't have foundation left. I said, you got to be kidding. Lost my husband last year. Now I lost my house, I lost my car. I've got nothing left but me and my kids.
Others are bracing for impact. So there's a legitimate fear that this house is going to fall on top of your house.
Yeah, even the engineer said that.
They are just a few of the stories on A and B Avenue Northeast, 2 blocks devastated by flash flooding. A surprise to most here, because after major flooding in 1993,
they promised us in 93, after the storm sewers were put in, we wouldn't flood again.
The city says that's not likely.
Certainly someone's not going to tell them that Mother Nature's not going to dump so much water on there that whatever system is there is going to be able to handle everything.
Elgin says they will take a look at the facts and the piping system to see what options are available. That will happen in the next 30 to 60 days. Residents say they need help now.
Nobody from the city, nobody came down to help. We're just forgotten here.
Brent said check Mercy Hospital, said, oh, they're back up and running, there's no problems. What about coming around to the neighborhoods?
Many of the residents I spoke to say the damage at their home is beyond repair, and they may have to abandon the homes that they've lived in for 30 to 40 years. We're covering the corridor here in Cedar Rapids tonight. Jason Hackett, CBS 2 News, 10 at 10. The airport. It's a constant cycle. People come and people go. It can be the scene of both happy hellos and grim goodbyes. But Wednesday night is different.
So Grandma's going to greet him up there, and then they're going to turn the corner, and then...
E6 Staff Sergeant Rick Ryder served in Vietnam from 1969 to 1970. At the time, public opposition to the war was strong, and when Ryder got back home, the welcome was less than warm. His son Kenny was barely old enough to remember.
I was 6 months old when he came back, so I didn't get a chance to do any cheering or yelling for him.
But that is about to change. Rick was selected for a trip to Vietnam for Purple Heart recipients. It was a chance to visit the country he once marched through as a soldier. It gave his family an idea.
He never really got the welcome home that I felt like he deserved. He makes a sacrifice for us, so we all made the sacrifice for him and showed up.
So armed with flags, signs, and hats, a soldier got his proper welcome. And more than 40 years later, hello became hello again.
I guess I'm at a loss for words. Pretty special. This is pretty cool. Yeah, it's way cool.
In a terminal full of a never-ending cycle of highs and goodbyes, Rick Ryder got the best greeting of them all, one that was decked out in the red, white, and blue he fought for 4 decades in the making.
All you gotta do is read the signs.